Hey there, everyone. Let's take a look at the concept of inflation rate. Inflation rate is a general increase in the price level. This is computed by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, here I have the 10-year data for the US economy, and inflation rate peaked at 9.1%. That was in June 2022. After that, it gradually went down. That was due to some monetary policy measures, which comes in later chapters. Okay, let's take a look at the calculation of inflation rate. Remember, there are several steps in the calculation of inflation rate. Now, the first step is we have to compute the total spending. So task 1 is the total spending in 2020. So it's basically price times quantity for each of the goods and added them together. This is $88. Now, I'm going to do the same thing for 2021. The total spending for 2021 is 5 times 24 plus $50 times 12. That means I'm multiplying price times quantity of each good and adding them up together. Now this one is 138. Next thing is asking is the value of CPI in 2020. CPI is the total spending on a fixed basket of goods and services by an urban family of 4. Definitely, this definition suffers from substitution bias as well as new goods and quality change bias. So, this is a CPI for the US economy, and we have the 10 years data. Now, I'm going to go back to our question. The first one is asking, task 3 is asking for CPI in 2020. So the formula for CPI is going to be the spending in the current year over the spending in the base year times 100. If I'm in 2020, my current year is 2020, and the spending in the current year, which is 2020, is 88, and 2020 is also my base year with a total spending of $88. Now, this is what I get, 100. Remember, CPI for the base year has always got to be equal to 100. Doing this for 2021, now my current year is 2021. So 138 goes on top, divide over the base year, that's 88, the total spending for the base year. This multiplied times 100. This we get as 156.82. Now task 5, we have to compute the inflation rate. This is the formula for computing the inflation rate. That's CPI new minus CPI old over CPI old times 100. So writing down the numbers, 156.82, that was CPI new. From that, we got to subtract CPI old, that's 100, divide over CPI old, that's 100, times 100. So this is 56.82%. That's the inflation rate. Now moving on to task 6. Here it says the data on box office hits and BLS shows that ET earned a revenue of $435 million in 1982 and Titanic earned $601 million. Now the CPI in 1982 was 96.5 and 1997 that was 160.5. We have to answer the true or false. ET earned greater box office revenue than Titanic. Now to find this out, I'm going to use this number here. This was the price or the total revenue in 1982. I want to find out the equivalent revenue in 1997. This is going to be equal to the 1982 revenue. Gonna multiply this times CPI in 1997 over the CPI in 1982. This is for 35 times 160.5 over 96.5. Now this is going to be 723.5. So that's greater than the revenues earned by the Titanic in 1997. So what we have here is true. ET earned $723.5 million greater than $601 million earned by the Titanic in 1997. Let's see a fun fact here. My years are 1982, that was one, and the other one was 1997. It may not be the exact number, but let's see if we have some approximation. Okay, in January, 733.92. This is close to what we got, 723.5. So this is the CPI inflation calculator. I got this from the US BLS website. I can just convert or find out the equivalent price in 1997 from the equivalent price in 1982, given the 1982 price. In our case, it was the total revenue, and then the CPIs of these two periods.